What's going on, guys? My name is Triforce Addiction. Welcome back to another Blueprint episode of Call of Duty Mobile. So today we're going to be talking about the newly released EM2 ECLIPSE phaser. So of course, a lot of us saw this coming for a long time. We did see leaks about the ECLIPSE phaser. And honestly, of course, as per usual, when it comes to mythic weapons, the results don't really disappoint. I mean, you know, the gun looks absolutely phenomenal. So now let's begin to talk about the features of this mythic weapon. So obviously, since it's a mythic, it does come with its own personal iron sight, which is kind of like I guess a red dot sight. It replaces the default scope of the EM2, and of course it gets that little red dot sight. It's a little bit more different. It's not as standard as a red dot mythic would usually be. This time around, it does have those. It's kind of like encased in a cut up circle of like four different sides. It looks pretty cool. A little bit distracting at the same time, I will admit, but it doesn't really take that long to get used to. So in some ways, yeah, the scope kind of gets replaced by the red dot, but at the same time, it's technically there, if that makes any sense. It just makes it easier to see through without having to deal with, you know, the small little tiny scope that's blocking a bit of your view. This new makeshift scope, in some ways, it kind of gets encased in this weird, like, animation, like this weird cosmic space animation. Until you aim in, of course, that's when you could actually, you know, see through the scope. But it does look really nice nonetheless. Also, something that you may have noticed is that there is also an ammo counter. So this is kind of like becoming more of a standard for most of the mythic weapons that do come out. You know, unfortunately in the past with like the Ice Drake as well as I believe the AK-47, they do give you ammo counters, but not ones that you could easily read. With the AK-47, they had those little small tally marks that would disappear the more your ammo ran out. As for the Ice Drake, it was a little bit different, but it had like this weird foreign text that you really couldn't understand. So you really couldn't find out whether or not you were running out of ammo. Like the only time you would if like the text turned red. I do understand like the majority of touch players like having their buttons being like very transparent so they could actually see what they're shooting at, or you know, they could just see the screen a little bit better. So they kind of sometimes rely on those types of ammo counters. Unfortunately, most of them are not readable, but for the first time we finally have one that's just a basic number, something that you could easily read. The last time we had a mythic with a number, like a numbered type of ammo counter, was the Morning Star, and that was like almost, like I think almost over a year ago. So yeah, it's been a while since we've had some sort of ammo counter that we could legitimately read. As for the basic effects for the gun, of course, with every mythic, it is reactive. And the main parts of it that do react is basically where the little ball is in the, I guess, in the center of the weapon. I guess that kind of like functioned as like the main power core, if you will. You know, it starts to light up a little bit more until you like reach the end where it's like completely encased in this weird like force field thing. So it looks very vibrant, especially on the footage that you have right here, and that's mainly because I have the contrast a little bit raised, so you know the game can look a little bit more colorful. But even without it, it still looks great nonetheless. So now we move on to the firing effect. The firing effect isn't really that great, especially if it's suppressed. It almost sounds kind of like, or it sounds like at least somewhat similar to just the base gun. I kind of felt like in some aspects they went kind of half-assed. Especially, you know, with recent mythics where you could actually hear a sound when you aim in. That, you know, that doesn't happen with this gun, or when you switch back to this gun, or like, you know, let's say you call in a UAV, you switch to this weapon, there's no sound for that, there's no effect or anything like that. Probably one of its biggest features is the death effect. So it kind of like, at least when it comes to the last one, it kind of looks like if it's some sort of like beta stage, like, you know, it looks like it's not, it looks kind of underdeveloped, or it looks like very glitchy. I can't really explain it, but the effects make it look like that. Of course, it's already completed, but yeah, basically it just involves the enemy after you kill them, just like they go into this little vortex, or I guess this black hole. Keep in mind, the second death effect also does that, but with, of course, less effects to it, or like, you know, just less done with it. You kind of need to upgrade it to at least level 2 to even get these effects. As for the attachment skins, there's not really a lot, and that's probably because of the new mythic upgrade layout that they have, and that's actually for the best. I didn't talk about this before, but previously when we had that other way of like upgrading your mythic weapons, you know, like when it went up to level 8, there were a lot of attachment skins that not a lot of people were going to use. So I understand why they had to kind of like reduce the amount of attachment skins with this new type of mythic setup. look at it this way. Let's say they get like a mythic for the SPR, and you know, it gives you an attachment skin for the 10 round mag, which everyone knows that they shouldn't use because, you know, the .300 in multiplayer is obviously the best one. But yeah, it's reduced amount of attachment skins, but it's the ones that we use the most, and that's what matters. As for the final reactive effect, obviously you have to get that within, I think, level 4 or level 5 of the gun. It basically kind of like just adds a force field around the weapon. It's nothing really crazy. It's not something I would actually go out of my way to buy. And, you know, that's typically what I do with these new mythic layouts. I only get it up to level 3 because that's where you get like most of the essential stuff. I mean, the tracer rounds, I don't really like being distracted with that. It looks cool, but I don't really need it. So yeah, that's why I always just go up to level 3 now. When it comes to the inspection, it also looks pretty cool. It kind of takes inspiration from the Fennec mythic, where it gets sucked into like this vortex, kind of like what you're seeing right now. It looks amazing. I mean, even with the space around it, I mean, the effects look absolutely crazy. It basically turns into kind of like this rocket ship, and then like after a few seconds, it just comes back to you. It does look pretty cool. And finally, for the completionist camos, they kind of, you know, knocked it out of the park, really. I was surprised how well they actually did this weapon with the completionist camos, especially diamond, because knowing that this gun has like a lot of rough edges, you know, there's not a lot of solid areas where you could put, you know, like diamond studs on. I was actually surprised that they did pretty well with the diamond camo. I was expecting it to be kind of like more of a solid gold thing, kind of like how the Mythic Odin was. Of course, I can't really speak on seasonal camos given that we haven't had one yet. We're still waiting for that that season 1 update. And keep in mind, we're still like midway through, like we're not even midway through the season yet. So yeah, that's still a ways to go before we could actually tell whether or not it's going to look good, at least in that field. So overall, the EM2 ECLIPSE PHASER is a pretty good mythic skin. I wouldn't say it's the absolute best, but in terms of like vibrancy, you know, the colors, everything, it looks absolutely incredible. I kind of wish they did a little bit more effort when it comes to sound effects when you're aiming in, or some sort of, you know, animation when you're switching back to the weapon. I felt like that should be more of a standard for mythics these days, but I guess not. But do I recommend picking up the mythic? Honestly, I mean, you know, in most people it would be no, but you know, if you're a person that's been collecting skins as of recently, I really do recommend picking it up. The question of upgrading it though, I don't really think it matters too much. I mean, most of the attachment skins are already with the gun. You know, getting it to level 3 might be like the best way to go, especially since they have that bundle out where you could get like 1,500 of them for like $60. The thing is that the way that they distribute it, I will say that it's not really the best. I mean, they could have made you paid like in COD points instead of like actual, like, you know, the US dollars. That's something I really do have a massive problem with, and I will explain that in a later video. But yeah, in terms of like, you know, if you're a person that's really dedicated to this game, of course I do recommend picking it up. If not, then don't. It's really your choice. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to leave a like, make sure to subscribe for some more COD mode content. I'll see you guys next time.